I have a lot of fun in life. I look forward to this group very much. You students particularly are such a great joy to have here because, as mentioned previously, you are the future. I am the father of 3. I see that every day. I feel that every day. But I'm so glad there are other people who do not look like they're in their teens, because then we'll get a nice balance of what they're doing and what you people are thinking, and that'll be the way it will work best. So I don't want to spend a lot of time. There's actually information about who I am and what I'm interested in and that sort of thing. And I should tell you that Nan Waller-Burnett, as if she hasn't been mentioned enough times already, and her ego is huge. Actually, she does so much for the organization, and she is one who doesn't take a lot of credit. But she's here to tell us about this very interesting story. So I'm going to start out and just tell you what I'm kind of looking for here. I think it really will work best if you don't feel like you have to raise your hand or anything like that. Just to be more efficient, if you have something to say.
Come closer if you can't hear. Just we'll scoot right up together so you can be part of this.
If you have something to say, just say it, and that's what we're looking for here. And I really feel so open about this. I mean, I laid out some things I thought were important to think about, and yet I really feel like you people are just going to take this thing over as it should be in a table discussion. So I will be so mad if I don't get you people, all of you, every single person in this group saying something. And I have taught as a professor. You don't get away with that in my classes. I will have to call on you, so don't think you're going to get away with it. I want to hear from everybody. Here's what I think, and basically real fast, I worked for 3 different speakers of the House in the Michigan legislature. I've done policy work as an economic advisor to the governor. I ended up being an appeals judge in Michigan, and I was miserable. I hated it because the cases were 6 years old, 7 years old, and what was I doing for these people? I walked out of the office one day and I said, my secretary said, when I said I'm quitting the job, she said, "Cooper, you are crazier than I ever thought." And I walked out. And I found mediation, and I'm in love with this. This is how we really change the world.
State of Michigan mediator.
This is how we change, what's going on locally, what's going on in the world, what's going on in different countries, different cultures. It is just fascinating to me, as is this group of people we are becoming larger and larger, and with students like you, and we want you so very much to play your part in this. So I really think that it's so invaluable to think about what's headed for the future. And one of the things, and now Nan, as she often does, takes up my space. So now I don't know where my stuff is, but I'll just toss out this idea, which I found very interesting. The latest Time magazine has a story on changing the world. Did anybody see it? And young people? And it was entitled,
It'll be the last one.
in the first page, it's entitled Rage, Wrath, and Revolution, all about the Middle East. And what's so significant about this, when I put my materials together and talked about what the beautiful things that young people are able to do with all their technology and everything else, I listed Egypt. And now, of course, Egypt's 3 weeks away. I mean, now they're moving on to other countries and other thoughts, and that's what's so amazing about this whole idea of how you can be involved in mediation and how it moves and moves and moves into all new and different issues. But I found this just fascinating. 30 and under population percentages. Morocco, 57%. Mauritania, 68%. Algeria, 52, 58, Tunisia, 52, Libya, 58, Egypt, 61, Sudan, 67, on and on.
What about the U.S.?
I knew you were going to ask me that. And right before this, I looked for that number, and these damn glasses I have are not doing it.
He doesn't have it. But the long story short is the entire revolution that's rolling is based on what? Social networking, technology, things that you all know something about that we're idiots about. And so one of the things about MBB is bridging the professional experience with the future and your inspiration. And so we want someone to act as a scrivener who look like you're just perfectly ready for the coverage. And I want you to sort of capture the ideas of everyone as we go around. His segue to the Middle East, and then I'm going to tell her story, and I have to be around the other table.
I was really moving toward that.
Okay. Ifti, I met in 2009 on the very first ambassador's mission to China, Mongolia, and Korea. And we were invited to speak at the Korean Institute of Public Policy. And I met Ifti here, and here she was as a student 2 years ago. And she was there on scholarship, a very bright student from Iraq. And as we talked about MBB, her eyes just really lit up. And she said, I want to bring this back to my country. My people don't know what to do. And so I kept in touch with her. And if I had grant opportunities, I would forward them to her. And I knew she had another year left as a teaching assistant. And it had been a few months since I heard from her. And 2 weeks before this Congress, I had sent her an application for the Mosaic International Foundation of the Prince of Wales for young Middle Easterners to go to this peace building summit in Abu Dhabi and talk to each other about how to peace build. I got an email from her that 20 days after she returned to Iraq, she was hit by a roadside bomb. She was engaged to be married. That was canceled. She feels hopeless. She felt helpless, and she'd been away from internet because she'd had 4 surgeries in 4 months. And then she reached out to me, and I want you to know about Ifti, because not only is she passionate, but she needs us. And she needs professionals to consult with her, which Cooper has agreed to do, which Jack has agreed to do, another lawyer from Illinois and Virginia and me, and she needs the youth that say, hey, let's brainstorm ways we can help her, and I can do a web page, or I can do Skype calls, or whatever it is that we need. And why do we want to help her now? Because she's on the ground in Iraq. She's attached to her university, and she wants hope. She's going to recover from this, having her leg in a metal cage and 4 surgeries. She wants to recover from how hopeless she feels to be living in the middle of a war-torn country, that she's 30 years old, and that she's always lived in the middle of oppression. And she's a woman who's really interested in climate change and how it's going to affect where she lives. So after having said that, I want you to know that this will be up on our website, Ifti Story, which was written by one of our MBB interns from Savannah School for the Arts, who's getting her master's in screenwriting. We have another intern in Prague who's going to give her interview on Radio Free Europe, and I can't wait to find out what you guys can think of. You know, how can we do the Lynn did not talk about this morning, but we talked about it at the board meeting, and it was each chapter was going to adopt a peacemaker in whatever country. And like Ken said, we all know people that are really in need, and you'll hear from some of them tomorrow and the next day. So after giving you that segue, I'm going to take this and go over to the ambassadors and let you guys begin the brainstorm. Thank you so much for your willingness to change the world.
If you want to just quickly say who you are and say a couple sentences about why you're here and that sort of thing, it might be helpful. One of the things we should really kind of think about as a group is, okay, if we were to take this discussion, what's our goal out of this discussion? And could we actually get a plan together that could be built upon on how we could actually have youth changing the world? And so I'm going to go to Jack here, first of all, and let him tell you a little bit about what he's involved in. And then I want you, younger people, to react to what he does and see if you have ideas on how that can change and be augmented.
So my name is Jack Boyson. I work for the International Youth Foundation. If any of you are interested in social entrepreneurship, we have a website called youthactionnet.org. And And there are grants and there are trainings that are available for young social activists. They can get training. It's usually very international, with people from all over the world that come together, or even by country, various countries around the world. So that's something you might be interested in accessing. And my particular job is that I am a school-to-work specialist for young people.
What was that? I didn't.
School-to-work specialist. I help young people who are out of school and out of work make that transition. I'm talking about young people ages 15 to 24, make that transition to perhaps their first job and to do something productive with their life. My target countries are the Levant region of the Middle East, which includes Jordan, Syria, Lebanon, West Bank, and Gaza, where I'm principally working right now. I also work in Muslim Mindanao. We have a number of initiatives to help young people get employment, but also to give back. There's a lot I could say, but I'm going to stop there.
You're going to have to speak up.
For the Middle Eastern countries, is it employment in their home countries?
So that's employment in their countries, but if they have the skill set that allows them to move to other places, we'll also do that too. So it's all about helping young people get the right employability skills, which includes a huge component dealing with managing your emotions, but also dealing with conflict and resolving conflict, dealing with bullying, and workplace behaviors, optimum workplace behaviors like teamwork and those sorts of things, so that young people can make that transition. Perhaps they haven't picked it up in the school system because the schools are focused on academic subjects. And we've done this with 48,000 young people. Introduced the curriculum in Russia, in Moscow and St. Petersburg, much to their surprise, and to ours. And they've embraced the program and incorporated it in the public school system. Eastern Europe, Mexico, India, Algeria, Morocco, Egypt now, also now in Jordan.
Sounds good. Anybody else have thoughts? Right here. Let's hear from you.
Do you do it in the United States too?
We have a number of partners that work in the United States. If you look on our website, the IYFNET.org, and you look under there where it says where we work, you can see who our partners are and what kinds of work we're doing. We actually focus on 3 different areas: citizenship, learning, and work. And usually we do comprehensive programs that involve all 3.
Okay, you're not getting out of it. Now I'm going to ask you a question. I'll make it easy. I'll make it easy.
Well, community service. I don't want to keep talking, but...
No, that's okay. You're giving it.
Okay, so here's the deal. And I want you to think about this and validate.
You're a mediator, aren't you?
Yeah. I was a trained mediator.
I jump on those. You know how somebody says, I don't mean to interrupt? That's exactly what they mean to interrupt. You said you don't want to talk? You're a mediator, Jack. Go. I mean, you love to talk.
No, but the thing is...
No, you're fine.
There are other
you're
people
fine.
here that have expertise.
You're fine.
Okay.
Get it out there, and then we can work off you.
I want you to stop and think about your own backgrounds, all of you, whatever age you are. And think about what was it, the resources that you had as you were growing up, and what difference it made.
Excellent.
You start thinking about what is it in the way that helped you to become what you're at right now, and whatever, you know? Doesn't matter what age you are. I'll bet you it's one of 5 things. The first thing was that there was some kind of a caring adult in each of your lives, a caring adult. That adult might have been a parent, could have been an aunt or an uncle, could have been somebody in a church or a synagogue, or it could have been somebody at school or an after-school program, but there was someone who cared about you, and you knew that you could go to that person and talk to them, and they would help you. You probably had an opportunity to gain a marketable skill. Some of you are still in school, and that's what you're working on, to help gain a marketable skill. The next thing that you probably had is you learned about yourselves in terms of how your body functions. And so you looked at trying to learn what is a healthy lifestyle, for example. How should I live? The next thing has to do with having a safe place. You probably had access to a place where you could go to, where you could play, you could learn, maybe more, but it was safe. You knew that you could go there and it was a safe place for you. And then the last thing is, I'll bet all of you had an opportunity to give back in some way. Maybe it was informally, maybe it was structured, but you had a chance to give back. So what we usually try to do is create an enabling environment in which those 5 resources are available to help young people make it through that transition.
You people are go-getters. That's why you're here, aren't you? Aren't you invariably, you're the ones that are really out there wanting to get going on stuff.